Well, a very good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Delta T Racing. It's Tuesday night, which means it's Division 1. And tonight we are live from Singapore, the Marina Bay Circuit, a 5-kilometre, 23-turn track. And we are now into the last three races of the season. So as I say, now getting down to the business end of the season, last three to go. We have a change in the championship order, with Shabby taking the championship lead ahead of Chalkers. So whilst we're waiting for everybody to sort their setups out, we'll have a quick look at the table. As I say, Shabby in Alfa Romeo taking the lead on 163 points. Chalkers changing his name to ERT Chalkers on 154 points, and now a 9-point lead for Shabby. Obviously that swing coming from last week, with Chalkers not having the best race, finishing in 13th, and Shabby taking the runners-up spot. Also in the constructor standings, it's getting quite interesting. McLaren on 254 points and Alfa Romeo on 211. What's going to make it more interesting is obviously tonight we have Michael missing for the McLaren team, so only Chalkers will be looking at scoring points tonight. So it could be a good night for Alfa Romeo to claw that back. So let's see, who do we have out on track? First car out is Broomer, so we'll jump on board with Broomer and follow him round for his opening lap. Let's get rid of the driver's standings for now. Okay, so the Singapore circuit, so opened in 2008, has been a regular on the calendar ever since. We've seen some good racing here, I wouldn't say classic races, but we've seen some very good ones. Have seen some very good racing in esports and online racing as well, so hopefully we will get that again tonight. Still remember a few seasons back where there was a glitch that the part of the wall at Singapore actually decided to come onto the track, and a lot of cars crashed into it. But then not only that, when the safety car came out, it actually got stuck behind the wall, and pretty much every car that then overtook the safety car got disqualified. So very interesting. But so that was a couple of versions back, so fingers crossed we won't see anything like that tonight. Okay, on board with Broomer, who is now starting his first banker lap. Get a lap onto the board. Okay, into turn 8, and then we'll be looking at turn 9, fourth gear, about 185 kilometres, so quite a fast corner all the way up through the gears. Then at turns 10, 11 and 12, up to the tight 13. It was a Singapore sling, if I remember rightly. Could be completely wrong there. I'll just be thinking of alcohol. But anyway, on board with Brent, we are now coming towards the latter part of the lap into turns 15, 16, 17. Then the quick snap left, turn 18 under the bridge, right through turn 19. Then we have turns 20 and 21 going quickly afterwards. 22, 23 coming up, and we'll see what time Broomer puts on the board. Broomer takes provisional pole 136.225, so that is what he set everybody else to follow. Wesley will be the next across the line. We'll see what time Wesley's got on the board. It's a 38.018, so slower there, but I say just a banker lap. Excellent lap there by Donkey Dan, 35.7. So looks like he has inherited the speed of Michael in that McLaren, with his teammate Chalkers taking a 35.666 to take provisional pole. We then next to cross the line, if I am right, will be Cassell. Good to have Cassell back, a Division 2 driver, but reserving for us tonight. Puts himself into 5th, well, 143.5, so just a banker lap there, just behind. We look like we have an Alpine. I think it's just starting its lap. And then EVG Damon there, I missed going into 3rd position. So a good opening lap from him there. Jumping down, who will be next? Yari will be next to cross the line and takes provisional pole 35.0. So the times are really starting to tumble now. Track evolution here. Obviously, as the qualifying session goes on, we will get quicker and quicker times. So the Williams here, I'm not sure if they gave each other a tow or not. Let's jump on with Mamba and see what. So he's on to his outlap. We've got a yellow up in Sector 1. I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it might have been Shabby on his outlap. Hasn't got any damage, so perhaps just a little spin there for Shabby. The 2 Mercedes now line astern. So Cassell will be coming into the pits. We have Martin here as well. Need to say hello to a couple of new drivers tonight. Obviously Martins, who we've just mentioned there, is reserving tonight for the Ferrari after just recently signing up for DTR, but he has proven pace and decent racecraft, which is why he has been put into Division 1, although could have done a little bit better there. There we go, commentary curse for you straight away there. Welcome to Delta T Racing. CPI Royce is the other newcomer tonight, making his debut for Alpine, where he will be for the remaining 3 races of the season. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on those 2 new drivers, see how they get on. Prince Killer is out. I missed that. I'm not sure if that was a retirement in the pits or a retirement on track. I certainly didn't see anything, but doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. Wesley coming into the pits. So who's on an outlap at the moment? We have Shabby. Ferrari off again. Martins, I think, just getting himself out the way there. Good awareness, that's nice to see. Jump back with Shabby now, coming through towards the final sector. We'll be crossing the line any minute now to enter the 3rd sector. We'll see what his time is. Obviously he hasn't been given a banker yet, so we don't know how he is getting on, but it's a purple sector 2. So this could be a time pushing for the pole position from Shabby. Shabby actually our current lap record holder, both qualifying and the race from last year. Qualifying he put in a 1:33.497. Obviously we've had some changes since then, certainly to the track and the dynamics, but a 35.5, sorry, half a second behind Yari, but still plenty of time to go. Boss Mots comes into the pit, so he invalidated, he's going to abandon that lap. Martin's finally getting himself around to the pits, not being the best lap for him. Who do we have next? Broomer just starting a lap and Mamba coming into the pits. So we'll jump on board with Broomer for a minute and see how he's getting on. And I think Wesley's coming out of the pits, so we have the 2nd Alfa Romeo onto the track. And also we have the McLaren of Chalkers on his outlap, so we'll keep an eye on him there as well. Purple sector 1 from Broomer. go, entering into the Singapore Sling. I'm going to call it that. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, come on, Broomer, see what time you can put in. Broomer puts in fourth position, 35.729. Wesley now starting his second hot lap, trying to improve on that 38.018. I think he's got a lot more time in him. He just put that banker lap in. Donkey Dan now on an out lap. Just on board with Chalkers for this last element, just to see if he can improve on his current third place, 35.666. Under the bridge, heading towards the fit start finish line, and he does 34.984, puts himself up into provisional pole position. A cracking lap there by Chalkers. Looking back, we've got the Aston Martins are next on track. Cassell in 8th at 36.9, Invisible jumping up to 7th at 36.4. So we've still got 2, 4, 5 drivers who haven't set a lap yet. Obviously Prince isn't going to set a lap. And Damon there looks to have crashed on the start finish line. If we can jump on board, who do we have there? CPI will be the next round. Let's see if we can see just there on the left. Oh dear. Right, okay, so we have Prince and we have Damon out of the session. So Damon will not be starting any higher than that fourth position he's currently in. Martin's now on to a fast lap. Who do we have? Bossmots starting his fast lap as well. Chalker's obviously slowing down now. Donkey Dan is next. He has invalidated. We're then back to the Alfa Romeos, who are, I believe, on an in-lap. Donkey Dan having no front wing at all there. Who needs it? Just gets in the way. Yari has invalidated his lap, so he will not be improving. Whether he'll go for a second one on those softs, we'll have to wait and see. Who is after him? We have Roy, who's 0.3 up on his time at the moment. So looking at a 36 flat, depending on how he can improve in the last sector. And just behind him we have Mamba as well, who's going to be completing a lap. So we keep an eye on both of these. As Roy's now coming round the last corner to set the time of 35.858, jumps him up into 7th. Mamba crossing 36.182 into 9th position. Next we have Wesley has aborted his lap. We then have the Ferrari of Martin with a 37.030. So they've been given very little notice for tonight's race, so not expecting a huge amount from Martins, but he can just find his feet and enjoy himself. That is what it is all about. Again, Prince just putting a comment on that he loves the bridge section, so I'm assuming there's an element of sarcasm in that post, and that might have been his downfall during this qualifying session. So Bren will be starting his fast lap when he gets there. Also missing tonight we have Brent, and I think we can let Brent off because today is actually his birthday. So Brent, we would like to wish you a very happy birthday from all of DTR. We hope what you're doing tonight is worth missing racing, and we look forward to having you back next week. Okay, so I don't think we have anybody on a lap at the moment. Perhaps Martins, is he looking? No, he's very low on fuel, so he'll be coming in on this lap as well. So the lead runner going out on the third and final run with 2.5 minutes left is Invisible. And he's closely followed by Yari, so Yari will be setting a lap before Chalkers. So currently we have first and second in the championship standings are third and first on the grid. But obviously everybody now going in to do their final runs. What I am going to do is just bring up what tyres everybody is on, and they have all gone for the soft tyres. Thought there might be a combination there. Oh, that's the wrong one, right, okay. So let's jump on board with Invisible now starting his final fast lap. So this is it, this is where you pull everything out. Roy's getting out of the way, that's great to see. Good to see, doesn't cost you anything, just move out the way. And very well done.
So here we are. After a breathtaking qualifying yesterday, the cars are taking their final positions on the grid. It's time now for the Singapore Grand Prix. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour.
Well, welcome back everybody. We're just waiting for the drivers to choose their tyre strategy, which if we have a look, the predicted strategies from Codemasters are recommended is a two-stop start on the mediums and then onto the softs, but obviously with most of these starting on the softs it'll be the opposite way around, medium. Also looking at the reverse strategy, one stopper from the mediums onto the hards or the hards onto the mediums, but considering everybody in the top 10 qualified on the softs. We'll see what tyres they are on though. Shabby actually qualifying in 4th on the medium, so that puts him in a really good position. Everybody outside of the top 10 going for medium or hard, so there's a concoction of different tyre strategies there. So we'll see how this pans out. Okay, so as we're approaching the halfway point of the formation lap, we'll run through the grid again. We have Yari in pole position. In 2nd place we have ERT Chalkers in his McLaren. 3rd and 4th we have the Alfa Romeos of Wesley and Shabby. Shabby, as we say, starting on the mediums in 4th, so that's a really strong position for him to be in there. In 5th we have EBG Damon in the Ferrari, suffering a bit of a crash in qualifying, but they've managed to repair him ready for the race. Bruma puts his Williams into 6th place, followed by Donkey Dan, reserving for Michael tonight in the McLaren. In 8th we have New Boy CPI De Roige in the Alpine. In 9th we have Mamba in the 2nd Williams. Then we have Linus Stern, Invisible and Cassell in the Aston Martins. Livermore coming through in 12th in the Red Bull, then Martins in the Ferrari, Bren in the Alpine, Bosmots in 15th, and last Prince, as I say, not doing too well in qualifying. I think the bridge was to blame for that. And that completes our grid, so we are now lining up on the grid, ready for round number 12 of the Delta T Racing Season 2 Division 1. It's all about Shabby and Chalkers really, so we are hopeful of a good race between those two. We are waiting on the grid and the lights are on. We are 3, 4, 5 red lights. The lights are out and off we go for the Singapore Grand Prix. That's a good start by Yari. Chalker's also getting a good start. It looks like Shabby has made a move already up the inside of Wesley. Going further back, it doesn't seem to be. It's a nice clean start there by the looks of it. I didn't see any carbon fibre flying. So yeah, everybody seems to have got away well. So let's jump back on the front with Chalkers, who I completely missed getting past Yari there. So Chalkers now up into the lead, Yari in 2nd, Shabby up into 3rd place, Wesley in 4th. I think Wesley may be playing the rear gunner role today. But we are still very early doors in this race. Some movement at the back, so I don't want to move away from the front too much because it's still very bunched, but some movement at the back. Prince is up into 12th and Cassell is already out of the race. looks like he has fallen victim at between turns 10 and 11. So he's obviously hit the wall there. We don't have a safety car at the moment. We just have that yellow flag in sector 2, which is now being cleared. So we are back underway and no restrictions on the circuit. So Chalkers with a getting off a half a second lead on Yari after catapulting him off of the start. Shabby just behind as well. I say within DRS range, which will become active at the end of this lap. Haven't seen too many moves going on at the moment. Boss Mott's into the pits. Looks like some early damage for him. Does indeed. Front left end plate. Be going on to another set of mediums. Meanwhile, back at the front. Well, these three are starting to pull away from Wesley. I think Wesley might have a little bit more pace, but obviously he's just not going to make a move on his teammate who is in title contention. Right. Go. Okay. No, back on board. Looks like Invisible's got to put. Yeah, he's lost his front wing there. So again, looks like he's fallen victim to an incident in sector 2. He's been claiming quite a lot of people so far. Certainly not been a friend of the Aston Martin tonight. So, okay, back at the front, we're starting to bunch up again a little bit. So Wesley just ran about that second point. Shabby putting in the fastest lap there just to put himself right on the back of Yari. Make sure there's no moves going further back. So I don't want to miss anything at the front, but I also do not want to miss anything going on at the back. So lap number 3, Chalkers has Yari all over the back of him now. Yari looking to go for a move around the outside, just about give each other a decent amount of space there. And Yari does make the move up the inside, which becomes the outside. Chalkers looking for a move back. Doesn't quite have the momentum to make the move, but he will now be sitting behind A in the slipstream and B when we get to the start-finish line. He will have that DRS. But Shabby looking very interested on the back of Chalkers now. So Boss Mott's and Invisible pitted. I think that's a second stop for Boss Mott's. Not gone well for him these opening couple of laps. Okay, so DRA Yari with the fastest lap of the race, 1:40.546. So he is now pulling away ever so slightly from Chalkers. So he got a 0.2 gap. EVG Damon has retired from the session. What happened to Damon? I think he may have crashed on the start-finish line again. Oh dear, so safety car we have. This is going to change things up quite a bit because, as I say, Shabby was in a fantastic position there. But he's still going to be, because Chalker's got to come in. Yes, he's got to change tyres, as has everybody else that is on the softs. But I think he'll still be in a strong position. But it's also going to be a godsend for the likes of Invisible and Boss Mots, who haven't had the best of starts, but they're now going to be able to close up on the back of the field, make up that time and go again. You know, the second time lucky. So is anybody going to pit? Lap 4. I can't see it, but I do wonder if some of these soft runners might want to just dump them, get rid of them. They do indeed. Yari and Chalkers coming into the pits. Wesley also coming into the pits. Let's get the tyres up so we can see what they are going on to. Yep, so far everybody is pitting until we get down to Prince, who works his way up into second place from last on the grid, not setting a time. So it's fallen nicely for Prince. 4 lap old mediums, the same as Shabby in front, and then Martin's behind on the hard, 4 lap old hards. Livermore working his way up into fourth again, courtesy of the tyre choice at the beginning of the race. Yari was race leader, dropped down into 5th place on fresh mediums, and interestingly Chalker's going for the hards. So is he going to look at trying to stretch those out to the end of the race? We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see. Wesley behind him has chosen the mediums, so he's going to have more pace than Chalkers to start with if Chalkers can keep him behind until those hards get up to temperature and the mediums drop off a bit. He should still be in a good position there. So, yep, looks like pretty much everybody's stopped. Bren coming in and putting on the softs. I think he must have started on the mediums. Can only see he's trying to get rid of the softs and then perhaps go for a set of hards to take them to the end. Invisible onto the mediums, and then Bossmots on 3 lap old hards as we stand at the moment, obviously having to stop for damage a couple of times. So as I say, you know, he's not been his race so far, but this will give him a chance to catch up. But Shabby in a nice position now, sitting in the lead. He's got Prince, Martin and Living Wall between him and the other 2 drivers that he was fighting before the first round of pit stops. Right, so still under safety car. Just reading through a couple of bits on the chat. Looked like I think I might have left my mute button on for too long. Also, Brent's just texted in, obviously, just to say thank you for the birthday wishes, but he's not well, unfortunately, tonight, which is why he's not racing. So my version that the fact he's out partying on his birthday was completely incorrect. He's actually unwell in bed and would rather have been racing tonight. So, Brent, get yourself well. I'm sorry to hear that. So we'll look forward to seeing you back on the grid very, very soon. Okay, so safety car. Are we going to come in this lap? It looks like Boss Mots will catch up at the end of this lap. It's just whether the safety car decides to come in before. Coming before, sorry, coming the lap after. It might wait until he catches up. I think we should be looking at the safety car being released at the end of this lap, but so with this game, you never know. It will certainly be interesting to see how Yari, how quickly he can get himself past Livermore and Martins in front of him. So safety car is indeed in this lap. Looks like Bren's picked up a penalty there. I'm not sure if that was under the safety car or before, but shouldn't really be picking up penalties under the safety car. But we see so many times people crash or hit the car in front. I think it's just, the problem is when you get under the safety car, you kind of switch off a bit, almost as a bit of a rest, and it's the worst thing you can do if you're switched on at all times, especially the lower down the divisions you go. So we've got some more time penalties there for Martins and Livingwall. Again, I can only assume that is down to contact. Let's have a quick look. Penalties 5 seconds, 5 seconds, so it is down to contact indeed. Again, that should not have happened. Not sure who was at fault there. But we are go. Shabby gets a cracking getaway there, already 1.2 seconds clear of Martin, and Yari not wasting any time getting past Livingwall there up into third position, and he will soon be after Martins. And Chalkers has had enough as well. One corner, that's enough, I want to get past you, and he will be chasing down after Yari as well. Wesley following through, so yeah, Livingwall losing what, 5 places there, 4 places. Now 5th place to Broomer. And so switching the temperature on into those hards is not easy. And obviously everybody around him is going to have a much better traction on those mediums. And here we do indeed, we have Bren going for the move. So Livingwall now down into 10th position. Right, let's jump back to the front. Shabby's gone. 3.5 seconds clear of Martins already. Yari needs to clear him as quickly as he possibly can, and doesn't quite make it there, but has now put himself under pressure from Chalkers behind and Wesley behind him. Shabby taking the fastest lap, 140.419, and just noticing at the back, looks like Bossmots has had another incident as he had to pit. Not been your night tonight, Bossmots. So Bren looks like he's had a bit of an off there, lost a couple of positions. I'm trying to have eyes everywhere whilst keeping an eye on the leader at the moment, but I mean Shabby he's checked out. He's nearly 5 seconds clear. Yari is now past Martins. Again, I missed that, looking at everybody else. Chalkers is going to be next. I can't see him wanting to hang around too long behind Martins, but Wesley is putting Chalkers under immense amount of pressure as well, closely followed by the 2 Williams of Broomer and Mamba. Donkey Dan not too far behind either in the McLaren. We've got a nice little 6-car train going on here behind Martins. Let's say Yari has already pulled nearly 2 seconds on Martin, so it just goes to show it is holding them up, but have to wait for the Wesley and Chalkers side by side here. Each other space, that's good. Bit of a squeeze there. Broomer looking for an opportunist move on the inside, and Wesley takes the move. A good persistence there from Wesley. Wesley and Chalkers both giving each other a decent amount of space, which is good to see, and some decent racing. So Wesley now up into 4th place ahead of Chalkers, so we'll be looking at getting past Martins as quickly as he can after Yari. Obviously looking for a 1-2 to maximise the points gained for Alfa Romeo with Michael not there tonight. Chalkers looking at a move up the inside of Wesley there, but Broomer makes a move up the inside in the Williams. Is he going to get past? And he does. Cracking move by Broom. We're up into 5th there. So Chalker's finding himself tumbling a little bit. I think it is the difference of those hard and medium tyres, just getting the temperature in. Obviously the mediums are going to be a bit quicker to start with, and Broom are now all over the back of Martins. Wesley got past him. So Wesley up into 3rd, looking at chasing down after Yari, who is closing the gap on Shabby. I'm not sure if Shabby has had a small incident, lost a couple of seconds there, or whether it was just the pace difference on the newer tyres. Broomer now past Martins. He will be checking out and looking to chase down Wesley. Yari putting in a 1:38.914, taking a further half a second out of Shabby's lead. Martin's still ahead of Chalkers. Chalkers just cannot get past, and both on the hard tyres, so I think struggling to get that traction out of the corners. Behind Donkey Dan was looking at a move on Mamba and thought better of it. So Chalker's now going for a move around the outside of Martins, and he will move himself up in a 5th, and when he does that, Black Mamba also decides to go for a move, and so does Donkey Dan, so he's lost 3 positions in one corner. And Prince now looking at Martin as well, and he does take him. So Prince is up into 8. Martin goes a bit wide there, makes him susceptible to DeRoy's behind him. You need to jump back to the front because Yari is taking time hand over fist out of Shabby. So Shabby always wants to win the Grand Prix, but sometimes you need to look at it. If Yari is that much quicker, maybe not fighting, let him go, settle for 2nd. You've still got a huge point gain over Chalkers. But it's easy to say when you're watching, it's completely different when you're sitting in the cockpit. But Yari now has closed it down to just over a second. It's not going to be long and he's going to be within DRS range. But catching is one thing, passing is completely different. Down to just under a second now, so within DRS. We've got some nice close battling going on from 5th down to 8th as well, which I really do want to see, but I just don't want to take my eyes off this lead at the moment. But I also want to keep an eye on Chalkers. Has lost a position to Mamba, so Chalkers back into 6th position. Back to the front, which I think is going to change quite quickly. So yeah, just looking at the rankings, if it stays as it is at the moment, we are going to be looking at Shabby extending his lead to 26 points with 2 rounds to go. But I don't think it is going to finish in the order that we are in at the moment. So Yari has now caught Shabby. So it'll be full defensive mode for Shabby. Still unknown as to whether Shabby's going to go for a set of hards towards the end or whether he's going to go for a extend these and go for another set of mediums. Obviously starting on the soft, so already has made the change of compound. So Yari now all over the back. Martin's losing another position to Invisible, so he really is struggling on those 11 lap hold hards now. But as I say, first race for us, just settling in, just enjoy it, race hard, race fair, and come back and try again next week. But the front shabby, and as Yari now going around the outside, Yari will look at making the move stick, and he has better traction than Shabby, so Shabby's going to tuck in behind a change of the lead there. So Yari taking about 6 or 7 laps to regain the lead after losing it under the safety car because of pitting. But these are now pretty much in the same position where they just need to make one more stop each. Yari can obviously take those mediums a little bit further than Shabby, but has much more pace and he's pulling out. But Wesley in 3rd place has pulled out a 4-second gap on Broomer. So we're going fairly 2x2 at the moment. Obviously Yari out front in the Mercedes, but then we've got the 2 Alfa Romeos in 2nd and 3rd, and then we've got the 2 Williams in 4th and 5th, the 2 McLarens in 6th and 7th. De Roy's there picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner cuts. And Prince picking up the same. I say corner cuts, and more extending track limits. I wouldn't say corner cuts. So yeah, penalties starting to come now. Obviously, something you need to do is keep it as clean as you can, especially if there's a late safety car. You can make up an awful lot of positions without actually having to make a single overtake. Okay, so again, looking at the championship table, we'll be looking at a 19-point lead for Shabby if it stays as it is. Trying to have a quick look to see how the constructors would look, because obviously a good showing from Shabby and Wesley. The gap would be down to 18 points in the Constructors' Championship as well, if it finishes the way that it does. So certainly all to play for here. But Shabby does seem to be struggling a bit on those mediums. We'll say 13 lap old, so he is pretty much extending the life period of those. If we have a quick look at the tyre strategy again, the predicted was to take the mediums to 12 laps, which he has already exceeded. So I think he is going to take them 14, 17. I think he might take him another 2 or 3 laps and then look at pitting for a fresh set of mediums, but we will wait and see. If I remember rightly, this is the track a couple of seasons back that good friend of ours, Ibany, I think he had an incident on the first lap on the softs, put a set of hards on and decided to take it the complete race. Chalker's in trouble. Chalker's dropping from 6th down into 10th. Does he have any damage? Can't see any damage, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you haven't got any. So again, not a good race for Chalkers. Didn't go well last week in Bahrain, finishing in 13th position outside of the points. Remained in 10th. I think he must have had a moment there, but he's back down with the hard runners now. Everybody else had Shabby into the pits. Set of hard, so he will be taking those to the end of the race. We'll see what position he brings himself out in. Is Invisible going to get past? He is. Shabby comes out in 8th place, just ahead of Chalkers. So now Shabby and Chalkers on exactly the same tyres, 9 lap difference between the two. But Chalkers does seem to have been struggling on those hards. It'll be interesting to see if Shabby has the same problem or whether he can pull away. So 1.2 seconds at the moment between Shabby and Chalkers. We take Shabby a lap or two just to get the hang of those tyres, and then I'm sure he'll be up to speed again. So back to the front, Yari with a 7, nearly an 8-second lead over Wesley, who's now pulled out 6.7 seconds between him and Broomer. Broomer closely followed by teammate Black Mambo, and then Donkey Dan in what is now the lead McLaren, and Prince in 6th place in the AlphaTauri, moving his way from 16th on the grid after not setting a lap time in qualifying. So a good race by Prince to work his way up there, and I'm sure there's still time for him to get himself up even further. Prince obviously our winner at Saudi Arabia this year, round number 10, so only a couple of rounds back. So we do know he is more than capable of putting himself up there. Okay, Shabby looks in control on the hard tyres. He's now, Martin's picked up a time penalty, but I was just thinking Shabby has pulled out a 3-second gap on Chalkers, so about 1.8 seconds over 2 laps, so a lot quicker basically. So he will now be closing down Invisible on those 12-lap-old mediums at a rate of knots, and will want to get past them as soon as possible. Obviously the top 7 ahead of him will need to pit, but it's just how much time he will lose on these hards compared to the mediums. We can have a quick look actually on time to the leader with 29.7 seconds. 29.8, we'll just keep an eye on that to see if that tumbles down. Meanwhile, cracking race so far from the Williams drivers in 3rd and 4th. They're not the luckiest of drivers, Broomer and Mambo. They've had their fair share of incidents that certainly weren't their fault this year. So it's good to see them having a decent race and in good position, 3rd and 4th. So good points there for Williams if they can stay there. So yeah, so still a long way to go. We're only just over halfway, 17 laps of 31. Shabby up to 6th. Prince does indeed come into the pits. What tyres has he gone for? He's also gone for hards to take him to the end. So we're getting to that point now where you could almost come in and stretch a set of mediums to the end. I think Yari will probably look at, within the next couple of laps, coming in, putting a fresh set of mediums on, obviously starting on the soft, so can do that strategy. May potentially lose the lead to Shabby. I think he might come out just ahead looking at the time, but I'm not sure of the pit time loss here. But Shabby keeping it round about that 30-second mark, pulling in ever so slightly now. Yeri does go for another lap. So onto his 12th, onto his 13th lap on the mediums. So as I say, this lap or the next lap, I would expect him to come in and change onto probably another set of mediums. I can't see him pushing it far enough, another sort of 6 or 7 laps to go onto the softs. I don't think that will work. Donkey Dan picking up speeding in the pit lane, 5-second penalty. It's such a shame because he was doing so well. Shabby now moving his way up into 5th place. 29-second gap at the moment between Shabby and the lead, so nearly 30 seconds. So Bruma and Mamba unleashed now. They don't have anyone right behind them, but I do worry that they might be susceptible to the undercut. Obviously Donkey Dan does have that 5-second speeding penalty, which is going to hurt him. And Prince, I think, has a 3-second time penalty as well for extending track limits. So closest battle we have on track at the moment is Martins in his Ferrari on his debut in 8th with Livermore. Just behind him, Livermore, who's one of our regular reserve drivers, doesn't have a team placement as such, and Martin goes wide there. It was an easy overtake for Livermore. But yes, Livermore, who drives different cars, but he actually represents the BMW team in our standings, and I think he's got 13 points, so he's doing quite well in a tough division. But good to see you back, Livermore. Chalker's 5-second penalty for speeding in that is... Oh, Chalker's goes from bad to worse. Again in the chat, we're looking at 10Ks, saying let's go Dan. So Donkey Dan obviously in 4th position at the moment, doing really, really well. Certainly outshining his teammate, who is, as I say, 2nd in the championship. So a good race from Donkey Dan. I think Mamba might have had a moment. So dropping behind Donkey Dan into 5th, Shabby now within a couple of seconds of him. Oh no, Mamba pitted, sorry. Mamba pitted, so did Bruma. And they've kept positions 3 and 5, that's really good. So they have actually jumped Shabby and Prince. So the undercut obviously didn't harm them today. I say Mamba potentially losing a bit more time than Bruma. But it depends, they might have double stacked as a... And Wesley into the pits now as well. He will come out on the mediums. He'll stay ahead of Bruma, will he? Easily. So yeah, he pits for fresh mediums a lap before and keeps the lead. Wesley 2nd place. We have a safety car. Why do we have a safety car? CPI de Rouge is out. Not quite sure where. Donkey Dan comes in and serves his penalty. Opted for a set of softs, 11 laps. Pushing it, but we'll see. Shabby jumping onto fresh mediums as well. I think everybody is going to pit now for fresh mediums. I think softs are going to be a gamble. Can't see that you're going to get yourself to the end of the race with a lot of grip. But I have been proved wrong many, many times. So Shabby will close up on the field now with Mamba and Bruma just ahead of him. Wesley's teammate currently in 2nd. Will he look at helping Shabby out as best he can? So the Williams of Broomer and Mamba back in third and fourth. Donkey Dan there making his pit stop to get rid of his 5 seconds speeding in the pit lane. Drops down to 10th, but is on those soft tyres. So I do expect him to be rapid at the restart. It's how many laps are those softs? How many laps are those softs going to last for? I'm not 100% sure. Might just get lucky depending on how long the safety car is out, but the field aren't too far back. They will bunch up, so I would expect the safety car to be in next lap. Chalker's coming into the pits again. Chalker's getting rid of that 5-second time penalty as well, and putting another set of mediums on. Martin's also coming into the pits. Yeah, he's gone for the softs. 11 laps including the one that we are on. We will see. So right, okay, we are on lap 21 of 31 at the Singapore Grand Prix, round number 12 of Division 1 Season 2 for the Delta T Racing, and in the lead we have the Mercedes of DRA Yari. In second place we have Wesley in the Alfa Romeo. Third place we have the Williams of Broomer, followed by his teammate Mamba. In fifth, Shabby in the Alfa Romeo. Sixth, Prince Killer in the Alfa Tauri. Seventh, Aston Martin of Invisible. In eighth, Livingwall in the Red Bull. In ninth, Donkey Dan in what is now the lead McLaren. Bossbots in the second, Mercedes in 10th place. Chalker's second in the championship, currently down in 11th place. Fresh set of mediums. Behind him we will have Martins, who's be closing in on the field on fresh softs. So retirements tonight, we have CPI Darouge on his debut. So that was the Alpine out, and the same for his teammate Bren. Out as well. So 2 retirements for the Alpine there. We have EVG Damon out in the Ferrari, and the first retirement was the Aston Martin of Cassell. The safety car is coming in this lap, so we are going to be racing after this corner. Yari has become the de facto pacemaker, will bunch the field up as much as he can and pulls the trigger, and he has gone. Keep my eyes peeled, and looks like Shabby is going for a move on the inside of Mamba. So Shabby up into 4th place. Mamba losing another place to Prince. Looks like the move from Shabby put him off line, which unfortunately opened up the door for Prince to move up into 5th. It does have that time penalty, so that's something to keep an eye on. Shabby past Broomer already and up into 3rd. Invisible picking up a 3-second time penalty there. It looks like Martin's had another small incident there. I think it's just the pace difference, obviously trying to go for the overtake on the softs, but not quite there yet. Invisible and Donkey Dan very close together. Donkey Dan should just let him through if he is aware of the championship table, which I don't believe he is. I think it's every man for himself out there. But Donkey Dan certainly not giving up that easily. Shabby gets past Wesley fairly easily. I certainly don't think Wes put up any fight there, and will now be quite happy to sit behind his teammate in 3rd and keep the rest of the field at bay if he can. So Yari out front has gone again. I mean, that's a 2-second gap already between himself and Shabby, who's then already got a 1.5 second gap on Wesley. But Shabby did do 2 or 3 overtakes on that lap, so that would have taken some time out of it. So 9 laps to go. Can Yari stay in front? Can Shabby catch him? Can Wesley keep off the rest of the field? We will see. Broomer there still in 4th position for the Williams. So a good result for them if he can keep that going. Prince working his way up from 16th, so a plus 11 net gain so far, so a good result for him. I think he benefited a bit from the safety cars, but sometimes you win with them, sometimes you lose with them. Back here, and Donkey Dan has gone wide and lost his nose cone, so that is it for Donkey Dan's charge for the top half of the points. But they still have a chance going fresh, slap on fresh to the softs, and perhaps go for that fastest lap just to take it away from everybody else. Shabby and Yari are exchanging fastest lap times now at the top. Yari crossing fastest first, and then Shabby beating that. So gap about 1.6 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that. We have a yellow flag in sector 1. Oh, this is so bunched up here. I think that was Broomer having an incident which has dropped him back, but Mamba now looking at moving up in the fall. So the two Williamses have changed position there, split by Prince. So Broomer dropping from 4th to 6th. Mamba making his way in the opposite direction from 6th up into 4th. And they both now have 2nd place in the championship. Chalkers just behind them in 7th. So again, looking to pick up a couple of places and recoup as many points as he can going into the final 2 rounds. Incidentally, final 2 rounds are at Russia and then the season-ending race at Brazil. So could it be Brazilian Carnival time for Shabby or for Chalkers? Chalkers making the move on Broomer there, working his way up into 6th place. It could be a good recovery drive from Chalkers. Looked all over a couple of laps ago. Last place, you know, I was sort of just serving his drive-through, not drive-through penalty, his 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Dropped into the back of the field. It looked like it was going to be a rotten day, but now up into 6th position. And all over the back of Prince for 5th. So just an observation I had, I think Chalkers was really struggling on the hard tyres. He had decent-ish pace, so Martins has now retired from the race. It looks like in the pit retirement. So welcome to your first race, Martin. It hasn't ended well, and just for information for the future, one thing we don't do is retire in the pits. We just keep going. So there's only 10 finishes now, so if you'd have kept going and another 1 or 2 had dropped out, you've picked up some good points there. But always keep going, see what you can pick up. So Liverpool now in the points in 10th position in the Red Bull, and we're literally down to the 10 runners. So Yari keeping that gap at around between 1.5 and 2 seconds. They're sort of yo-yoing a little bit. Wesley comfortable in 3rd position. Black Mamba there having a bit of a Tank Slapper followed by Chalkers doing exactly the same thing, but Chalkers is on a charge now. Prince dropping away just a little bit with Bruno in 6th and 7th. Seem to be pairing off ever so slightly. Although saying that, Bruma does have Invisible and Bossmont right on his gearbox. And Livermore only a couple of seconds further back. If they start tangling, he could well close that gap up. But at the front, Yari has had majority of this race in control. He been first or second pretty much for most of it. Dropped down to 6th, I believe it was, during the first safety car with the pit stop. Worked his way back up into the lead and has not relinquished that even with the second pit stop that was needed. Keeping that gap at 2 seconds between himself and Shabby, so just that couple of second buffer there. Chalkers all over the back of Mamba, but as I've said before, catching is one thing, overtaking is completely different, especially around this street circuit. But Chalkers certainly seems to have the overspeed there. Chalkers going for a move around the outside. Mamba sensibly not fighting that one too hard. I think he'll still be happy with the 5th position. So Chalkers now recovering up to 4th position. So really damage limitations compared to where we were in the first half of the Grand Prix. He's certainly enjoyed the second half of the Grand Prix a lot more. Invisible there, picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So it's amazing how quickly things change. We're now looking at Shabby in 2nd, Chalkers in 4th. That's going to be a 6-point swing, so that would give Shabby a 15-point lead in the Drivers' Championship going into the final 2 rounds. Obviously 16 points can be eroded in just one race. So everything to fight for still into the last 2 races. It'd be nice if we are still open going into a title decider in Brazil. But I'm sure both Shabby and Wesley would like to have it won and sewn up by then if possible. Who is out? Prince is out. Prince has gone. So approaching turn 13. And going over the bridge section. Again, don't know if there was contact or not, but we got a safety car, so everybody is now going to pit for softs, I would have thought, or maybe not. Nope, they're going to keep going on the mediums. I don't think they had enough time to get themselves out ahead, so it is going to be probably a couple of lap shootout under the safety car. It will certainly be in at the end of next lap. If not this lap. So Livermore has decided to pit and he will go on to softs for the remaining 4 laps of this Grand Prix. So we're probably looking at 2 laps under the safety car, so he's going to have 2 laps on those softs. We'll see if he can pump in a fastest lap, pick himself an extra point, currently sitting with 2 points in 9th place. A quick look at penalties while we are going. Invisible 6 seconds, Bruma and Chalkers picking up 3 seconds. So this is really going to hurt Chalkers again towards the end, as he needs to pull out a 3-second gap on Mamba behind him. He'll lose that position. Bruma and Invisible have penalties anyway, so he'll just need to stay ahead of those. Bossmot could jump a place or 2. And Liverpool's got a long way to catch up at the moment, but could put himself in a good position if he could make a couple of overtakes, get himself up into say 7th with penalties in front of him. Could find himself 4th or 5th at the end of this Grand Prix. Let's look at pit stop. Bosmont's having a dreadful day. 4 pit stops he's had to make. Chalkers has made 3. One of those was to serve a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane the previous lap. So really a 2 stop, but yeah, I mean it is saying as 3. But everyone's stopping at least twice, other than Damon and Cassell, who didn't reach the first pit window. So down to 9 drivers. We started with 16. So we lost 7 drivers. Cassell was the first to go in the Aston Martin, followed by EVG Damon in his Ferrari. Then we've had Bren and De Roige in the Alpines retiring. Donkey Dan, after looking so good early on, didn't quite work for him, retiring. We also had Martins in the 2nd Ferrari, so a bad day for Ferrari, bad day for Alpine. And Prince, after looking so good, working his way from 16th up to 5th position at one point. Having a incident, it looked like, round about the bridge section, approaching turn 13, and retiring from the race, which has brought out the latest safety car. Let's go with that, sorry. Okay, so lap 29, safety car will be in after at the end of this lap, regardless. Laps 30 and 31 will be racing laps. It gives 2 laps at the end. So our runners that we have left in the race: Yari leading in his Mercedes, in 2nd championship leader Shabby in the Alfa Romeo, with his teammate just behind him, Wesley, in 3rd position. So a good pool of points for Alfa Romeo. I think they would reduce the gap to about 22 points off the top of my head in the constructors. Chalkers in 4th, obviously trying to maximise the loss on both Alfa Romeos in the constructors and to Shabby in the Drivers' Championship itself. Mamba and Broomer in the 2 Williams in 5th and 6th. In 7th, the sole Aston Martin of Invisible. The 2nd Mercedes now scoring points in 8th place of Bosmont's. So after having a torrid opening race, opening half of the race, finds himself in 8th position. Livermore at the back on those fresh softs. So we'll see what he can do in the last 2 laps. So we are safety car in this lap. I've got no notification, but looking at the way they are bunching up, so Wesley with a job to do now, protecting his teammate in front of him, obviously keeping Chalkers behind. Livermore with another 5-second penalty for collision with Bosmont. Oh, why does this always happen under the safety car? And we're off again. So we have 9 runners left in the race. Livermore pick up a 3-second time penalty there for clearing the cut. So right, let's get back to the front. We have Chalkers going on. Wesley, I just caught the end of that. So Wesley around and down into 9th place. So that is a kick in the teeth for Alfa Romeo after doing so well in this race. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. Just caught the end of it. Chalkers is on. Chalkers! That is not a safe return to track, Chalkers. I think that may well be a little bit of road rage there, but unfortunately he has ended Invisible's race after him doing so well there. So Chalkers throwing it all away. So so I can only assume he might have had wing damage from the incident with Wesley, but I couldn't tell. But that's certainly not the way to rejoin a track. Invisible leaving the session, and rightly so. I think he'll probably go for a little bit of a calm talk somewhere and just calm down a bit. But all this does mean that Yari continues in the lead. Shabby in second place in the Alfa Romeo. The Williamses have moved up into third and fourth of Mamba and Bruma. So cracking for them. Bossmots, fifth place. Who would have thought it? Last position, I think, after a few laps. He's pitted so many times, but he's going to bring it home in fifth position. Wesley in sixth position after tangling with Chalkers. Chalkers into the pits to serve another penalty. New nose cone, fresh set of softs on the last lap of the race. So Yari coming into the final sector now. Looks like he is going to win round number 12 of Division 1 this season. That would be his third win and second in a row. Obviously picking up some momentum towards the end of the season. So Yari now coming round the final corner and does indeed cross the line for the win. Congratulations to him. Shabby picking up second place. Then we have in third place the Williams of Black Mamba. Fourth, Bruma in the other Williams. Bossmots taking fifth position. Unsolved time penalty there, but it should keep the position on Wesley. He does indeed. So Wesley coming home in sixth position. Livingwall deciding he didn't want a wing for that last lap. It's just weighing him down, so he decides to shed it and go for it. And then we have Chalkers, who... Not a good race from Chalkers. It was sort of swings and roundabouts. It was bad, good, and then sort of bad at the end. But the reversing onto track, certainly when someone else is coming, is certainly something you don't expect from Chalkers. So I think it was more frustration and rage than anything. But it's unfortunately ruined Invisible's race. That's how easily it can happen. So 8 finishers for round number 12, the Singapore Grand Prix. DRA Yari taking pretty much a dominant victory. Shabby working well, qualifying in fourth on the mediums, working his way up into the lead at one point, losing it to Yari, but keeping with him in second place. And rounding at the podium, there's Black Mamba, which is good to see. So really happy for you, Marco. Good to see you on the podium. And some good points there for Williams. So there was a bit of an incident-packed race in areas. There we have Yari lifting his trophy, and rightly so. A good result for him. Shabby there, quite accustomed to being on the podium. And from this he will extend his championship lead. I'm just trying to figure out how much. 6 and 8. I think he's going to extend it to 23 points. But just running through the finishes. DRA Yari taking the victory there. Shabby picking up second place and with fastest lap as well. So we'll end up with a 24-point lead in the championship. Black Mamba in the Williams picking up the last podium position. Fantastic for him. Well done, Marco. Bruma in fourth in the Williams. Then we have Bossmots in the Mercedes. Wesley in the second Alfa Romeo. Livingwall in the Red Bull. And the last finisher was Chalkers in the McLaren. Invisible was classified. Unfortunately, was taken out by that late incident with chalkers. We have Prince, Martins, Donkey Dan, CPI, De Rouge, Bren, EVG Damon, and Cassell were the other retirements. So, thank you very much for joining me for the Singapore Grand Prix, round number 12 of Division 1. A very interesting race. I think you'll agree. I'm sure there'll be some talking points in the chat afterwards. Just a reminder that we are back live tomorrow night with Division 2 and Division 4, and on Thursday night Division 3 and Division 6. And don't forget, obviously, to tune into YouTube tonight, and you can have a look at Division number 5, which was racing at the same time. So yeah, an interesting Grand Prix today. Certainly tighten things up in the championship. I mean, Shabby taking a 23-point lead in the championship, and the constructors, I think, has been reduced to a 21-point lead for McLaren going into the final 2 rounds. So once again, thank you ever so much for joining me. I've been Nellboy, and I will look forward to seeing you next Tuesday when we'll be celebrating the penultimate round in Russia, and hopefully we'll have some decent racing there as well. So once again, thank you for joining me. Have a good evening, everyone.